YouTube friends. So this is Eden. I'm back again with another little lesson from the most frequently asked questions that I get in my free calls. So now I'm going to talk about what happens next after you've decided, you know what, I'm going to do this thing myself. So there are two ways in which you can do it yourself. One is through sourcing bulk bases, and I have a short YouTube video on that, but I'll go into bulk bases in a little bit. The second way is through formulas, whether they're formulas that you source that someone else has created or formulas that you create on your own. But basically you can either source pre-made product or you can make the product yourself. So in this video, I'm speaking specifically about bulk bases, not just what they are, which I'll give you a brief preview in case you haven't seen the other video, but the best way to use bulk bases, okay? So the first thing is, what are bulk bases? The second thing will be the best way to use them, to get the most out of them if you're using them to launch your hair care line. So bulk bases are basically pre-made formulations, okay, that companies are selling. You can buy them by the ounce, you can buy them by the gallon, you can buy them by the huge freaking vat. Okay, they have all kinds of sizes, and obviously the more you buy, the cheaper it is, because the price goes down in per volume that you buy per ounce. So these formulations range from skincare, whether it be for your face or body, bath and body, shampoos, lotions, makeup, deodorant, diaper rash cream, you name it, they have it, okay? And so what you can do is you buy this pre-made formulation, you put it in packaging of your choice, you slap on a label that you've designed, and it's ready to sell. And there are many ways you can do it. You can either buy big quantities of it that you package yourself at home in little jars or bottles or whatever, according to the product that you're making, with labels you've designed or had designed, and then you just stick it on and blah blah blah. Or you can have the companies themselves package it for you and label it for you, okay? So and ship it for you, so you never even see it, doesn't even show up at your house. Have them ship it to you to a fulfillment center, whether it be an Amazon center or a different center, so that when people are buying off your website, it's just being shipped and you're just getting reports and checks in the mail. All right, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of bulk bases? The most obvious quality is that it is done for you, okay? So no fuss, no worry. It's an easy way to be up and running with your product, really, like even within a week. If you're super organized, within a week you could have a product, in your salon, in your online store, in, wherever you want. The second advantage is, there is some customization that you can do yourself. Like, for example, you can order an unscented base, and then you can have an unscented option, and you can add a different fragrance or a different essential oil to different ones if you want to create lots of different essential oils, or different essential oils by function, not just by scent. Like if you want one that's calming versus one that's invigorating versus one that's anti-dandruff or whatever. Okay, so there is some mild customization you can do to them, and some of them will accept other botanicals up to a certain percentage, so you could tweak it yourself at home by adding a little seaweed extract or hyaluronic acid or whatever it is you want to add, ginkgo biloba, I don't know, whatever you want to add to customize it, to kind of make it more your own. Some of them do work that way. So if you choose to have it pre-packaged by the company, that also makes it less fuss for you, and it's nice to have the option of having it shipped to a facility as well if you don't want to deal with boxes and boxes in your home. And one of the main things that helps people, one of the main appeals of the done for you aspect of bulk bases, I should say, is that you don't have to worry about stability testing. Okay, so stability testing isn't a factor, pH testing isn't a factor. All of that is done for you, and that's very appealing to people who are intimidated by formulation, which is the final one that I want to say. If you are super intimidated by formulation, if you are super intimidated by the idea of doing any kind of math or percentages, and it's just basic math, but for some people that's not their strength, that's not their strong suit, and it feels scary, or they just look at the names and they just have a meltdown. If that is you, that's perfectly okay. You got to know your strengths, and that's when you want to work with a chemist, or you want to do the bulk bases option. And if you want to customize the bulk base, you can always have them customize the bulk base for you. If you're buying in certain quantities, they'd be happy to do that. So those are the advantages of a bulk base. Get up and running fast, it's done for you, it's fuss free, you can customize your degree of involvement. The disadvantages are when you buy bulk bases, they're not super expensive, but the profit margin when you purchase a bulk base is going to be much lower than the profit margin when you make it yourself. If you're selling a conditioner for, say, in the $12 to $16 range, and it's costing you, say, $4.50 for each thing that you make, you're going to have a much lower margin on a wholesale or distribution deal, okay? And your best option at that point is kind of a retail deal. I talk about pricing in another video later on. But you want to price things accordingly so that this isn't an issue. But bulk bases, for standard prices of things, your profit margin for wholesale is going to be much lower, and consequently your retail margin is going to be lower. But if you're pricing things the right way, that shouldn't be a deterrent. I think that if all other factors are pointing towards a bulk base, it's okay to take the lower profit margin for the peace of mind that you will get from not having to fuss. Okay, so that's one disadvantage, is the profit margin. Another disadvantage is that you're more prone to copycats. If people figure out that it's a bulk base, what's to stop them from going and getting that same bulk base and marketing it to your same target market? And if that person is smarter than you are at marketing, or if they outwork you, well then, at that point you are subjecting yourself to being outworked, outmarketed, and having, maybe losing some sales that way. I don't really believe in competition. I think that there's enough for everyone. It's just a matter of playing to your target market and so forth, because even Lever Brothers and Procter & Gamble have competition, and it hasn't stopped them from becoming gazillionaires, and it hasn't stopped other brands that you or I have never heard of from taking home, not just in the tens of thousands, but maybe even 100,000 plus, or more every year, and we've never heard of them. So don't be intimidated by the fact that someone else has a similar formula. And I talk about uniqueness and the importance of uniqueness versus the perceived importance of uniqueness in a later video. But when you go bulk bases, you have to be prepared for the fact that you will have some copycats. And in the audio course, I talk about how to deal with that. So make sure you sign up for the free audio course below if you haven't already. One thing that is also a disadvantage with bulk bases is that with some of the companies that you work with, they will accept you shipping whatever container of your choice to them if you don't like their selections. But others are like, we only use these 4 or 5 type of bottles. This is your choice. If you don't like any of these, then you can't work with us. So that can be limiting. I would say that, you know, the nicer the bottle or jar, the less pressure to create a super fancy label. The plainer the bottle or jar, you know, more pressure to really kind of allow the label to make up for it, which it can. Um, but if you find something that is absolutely perfect, don't let the packaging, you know, deter you. There are ways to get around that if bulk basis is the best option for you right now, and if the packaging, if the formula that you found is the perfect formula for your niche, for your brand. The fourth thing is that sometimes the formulas can be back ordered. If it's a really popular formula, and you know that can put you in a bind if you don't have a time frame from when they're going to be able to manufacture it again. Okay, because you're not making this, so you're not in control fully. You're kind of at their mercy in terms of when they'll have that back again. Also, at any point, they can decide to discontinue that. Now, if it's a big enough company and you're ordering a large enough amount, even if they have discontinued it, they might make some for you. They might do a run for you. Say, look, I need another 250 units of your Babasu conditioner because, you know, I know you changed the formula or you're no longer carrying it, but can you just whip up a batch for me? And I'm going to order 250 units or 500 units. They'll probably do that for you. Okay. But if you're ordering small amounts, like just 5 gallons or 1 gallon, then you could be screwed, to be honest. So that's something to look out for. Um, Another thing is you run the risk of them changing the formula. So that can become interesting. You know, they might change the formula and it might not be really that noticeable, or it might even be better and you can say new improved formula. But sometimes they change the formula in a way that your customers do not like and that they do notice. And then that becomes an issue. So those are all chances you take with bulk bases. If you have an extensive product line, it might not be an issue if it's just one. But if you only have 2 products and both of them are bulk bases, and one or both of them, you know, become subject to those issues I mentioned, that could be dicey. So, a few things you should know about bulk bases. I really don't believe in bulk bases being the basis of your line. Sorry, it's like getting close to 4 o'clock, so all these cars and whatnot are coming home. Now a school bus is going by. So it's getting noisier out here. I think I might have to do the next video inside. But yeah, I mean, bulk bases should not be... In fact, I'm going to pause this video for a second. Okay, so bulk bases should not be the basis of your line. They should be something that complements an existing line. So you have 1 or 2 products that you've made yourself, and then there's a 3rd or 4th product that you want to introduce that you don't know how to make yourself, you don't have time to make yourself, you don't want to make yourself, you're not really interested in, but you know your customers want. You tried out this bulk base, it works perfectly, it doesn't conflict with the other things in the line. If anything, it enhances them, and you know, yeah, then that's the perfect time to add a bulk base. Another time is when you're creating what I call a trust filter product, where you are a brand. Let's just say you're a vlogger, or you have a hair salon, or you have a men's grooming line or something, right? And you're known for having a certain quality of service and product, and so you find things that you can put your name on that you trust, right? And so kind of like, you know, like certain people will put their name on things that they didn't necessarily make, and it becomes their brand. And so if you have that sort of trust filter that you've built, where people like use your opinion, use your ideas, your approval, as a filter to figure out whether they can trust this product or not, then that's also a perfect way to introduce bulk bases and say, hey, I don't make this conditioner, but I've been using it for a while, and I decided to brand it and sell it to you, which allows me to share it with you at a lower cost, which is true. And yeah, so this is our, whatever your name is, conditioner and shampoo. Bulk bases are perfect for that kind of thing. And then the fact that it's a bulk base and that there may be copycats does not become an issue. Okay, so there is that. Tweaking bulk bases is also a great idea to make them a little bit different and harder for people to figure out that it's a bulk base, and to differentiate yourself from competition who may be using the same base, or to make it more specific towards your niche. Like maybe you enhance it with certain botanicals or essential oils that help with hair growth. If you're doing, say, a line for alopecia, or that help with, calming or scalp balance, if you're doing a line for cradle cap or dandruff or that sort of thing. So you can tweak it according to the needs of your niche. And again, this is another thing that you will need to learn with bulk bases. With bulk bases, you need to you carry a certain advantage when you learn how to formulate and you learn how to understand ingredients, because there may be a bulk base in skincare that has certain ingredients, and it would never even occur to you to look there for a hair gel or for a moisturizer, or but if you know how to formulate, you know how to look at those bases and look at the ingredients and be like, okay, this might actually be worth ordering a sample to try it for such and such purpose. Or you might try it and see that it's not quite working because it's too sticky, or it's too thick, or it's too runny, and you would have ideas about how to tweak that formula with cosmetic ingredients or with botanicals or oils to make it perfect. And so you'll be able to communicate that to your chemist. They would understand exactly what you mean, and they'd be able to quickly tweak that. And you can really have an original bulk base that way, because a lot of people would never even know to look for it in the skincare section. Okay, so those are all things that are helpful when you are seeking to source bulk bases, and to consider. Feel free to take the audio course. It's just 4 short 3 to 8 minute lessons. Most of them are about 5 minutes. And there's a PDF that accompanies that called Your Quick and Dirty Guide to Launching Your Own Hair Brand with Less Money and in Less Time Than You Thought Possible. That has a lot of resources, like where to get formulas and the best formulas for natural hair, where to get oils and botanicals and packaging and labeling and all of that. So be sure to sign up for that and subscribe, comment on the video, and just be sure to move forward with your dreams. And I'll see you in the next video where I'll be talking about formulas.